Do you ever wonder how immersive computer games began as trend in our modern culture? Well, you're not alone. Computer games was an unimagined fantasy until the late 1960s, where scientists began running complex mathematical simulations and need a graphical representation to help them analyze stuff. The first computer game known to exist was Space War, a minimalist game which consisted of a spaceship and other UFOs created by Steve Russell in collaboration with Martin Grates, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Following the release, game developers like Atari started targeting the public audience by making arcade games, and some of which included Pong, which is considered as one of the earliest commercially targeted video games in history. By the mid-1970s, low-cost programmable microprocessors had found the way in the electronic industry, starting a revolution of ROM cartridge-based home consoles. And these included the Atari's VCS computer system, which also brought around games like Pac-Man, the famous yellow coin eater game, which has stayed with us through generations and decades. The Japanese game company, Nintendo, introduced the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985, and at that time, it took a marginalized lead in the video game industry since many less quality games were flooded into the market at that time. This period saw an era of nostalgic games like Donkey Kong, Missile Command by Atari, and Galaga by Bandai Namco. The advancement of microprocessors technology gave rise to real-time 3D polygonal graphic rendering in game consoles, as well as in PCs in the form of graphics cards, introducing a wide variety of games and gameplay mechanics. Developers learned to adapt to this 3D game style since it now had a capable environment. Games like Catacomb 3D threw a spotlight on 3D first-person shooter style gameplay. id Software, the creator of Catacomb, in collaboration with Bethesda Software and other developers, created Doom in 1993. id Software's Quake was the first computer game with a true 3D game engine with in-game character and object models. And as with the Doom engine, id licensed the Quake engine, leading further to the growth in first-person shooters. Fast-forwarding to beginning of the 21st century, Sony released the PlayStation 2 in 2000, the first console to support the new DVD format, and with capabilities of playing back DVD movie discs and CD audio discs, as well as playing PlayStation games in a backward-compatible mode alongside PS2 games. Nintendo followed the Nintendo 64 with the GameCube in 2001. The PS2 remained the leading platform for the first part of the decade, and remains the best-selling home console of all time with over 155 million units sold. This was in part to a number of critical games released on the system, including Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Final Fantasy. Around 2005, the first smartphones were available on the market, which offered data connectivity alongside phone services. Google, which developed the competing Android mobile operating system, released its own version of an app store in 2008, later named as Google Play in 2012. It showed up with games like Danger, Dash, Subway Surfers, Candy Crush, and more later on.